What's up, guys? So the topic for the video today is 5 habits killing your gains. Now, you guys are going to realize that these are some things you guys are doing that you have to cut out of your life. Let's get started. Number 1, fapping. Ladies and gentlemen, fapping is one of the worst things you can do. You see, when you're looking at pornography, you're observing the act, right? You're watching more women have sex than any guy has ever done in the history of mankind, except maybe an Egyptian king. When you're fapping, you are constantly juicing your brain so you have no energy left. It does something to your brain when you're not with a girl. The only purpose you should be ejaculating is because you're with a girl and procreation. But when you're fapping, you're constantly observing someone else in the act. It has tremendous consequences on you because you're juicing your brain. Your brain is flooded with all this serotonin, all this dopamine, because your body's like, oh, I'm getting some pussy right now. But you're not actually, you're just watching someone get laid, or you're watching a porn, right? And what it's going to do is juice your brain completely so you have no energy. 1 nut is equivalent to 8 miles. So you're going to be completely juiced. This is why we have to cut it out of our life completely. It's not going to benefit you in any way, except maybe relieve some stress for 2 seconds. So we need to make sure that we do better things with our time, like reading, going for a run. We cannot be using porn. It has no benefits at all. It's not like you're getting an actual girl or you're getting an actual guy. It just completely drains you. It's going to make you a lot more less interested in the real thing, which is the most important. When I stopped fapping, all these girls started surrounding me at the gym, like 6, 7 girls. I'm in the weight section lifting dumbbells. One girl comes over, then another girl comes over, then another girl comes over, then another girl comes over, then 2 other girls come over, all paying attention to me and the other girls looking at me. But I'm too focused on myself, and they can realize it, that I'm so focused on myself. Like in the previous video you just saw and I just posted, focusing on yourself is one of the most important things you can do, which is what I do. And this is one of the biggest vices we need to cut out of our lives. Fapping. It's so important. If you're constantly releasing, you're not going to be wanting to go out and get the bag, because your brain, you're telling your brain, okay, job's done. Job's done. I just released, job's completely done. Don't got nothing else to do today. Maybe I could smoke some pot and play some video games, right? This is the worst thing you can do, because your brain's like, oh, job's done. Don't got to do anything today. It tells you that you achieved something when you didn't. This is why we need to cut it out completely. It's not going to help us in any way, shape, or form. The real thing is going to help us, the real girl. You got to find a connection with a real person, a real girl, or a real guy, and that's going to help so much. You can't be a slave to your vices. You can't be a slave to porn. You can't be a slave to alcohol or drugs. You have to be able to take control of your life. Number 2, smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol. This is 100% going to kill your gains. There's nothing healthy about alcohol or cigarettes. And a lot of us were like, oh, well, these things make me feel better. Yeah, they make you feel better because they're like a drug. And of course, a drug is going to make you feel better temporarily, but in the long term, it's not going to have any beneficial effects on you. Have you ever heard of somebody having beneficial effects from smoking cigarette every day for 40 years? No, you get cancer and die. Or have you ever heard of someone being successful, a successful alcoholic? I mean, not really, because alcohol will destroy you eventually and ruin your success. I don't even like drinking at all, and I don't smoke. When you're drinking, it dims your senses. And what if something were to happen? What if someone were to attack you or something? You're going to be not paying any attention because you're going to be drunk, trying to have fun, being silly. These things are all temporary fixes that aren't beneficial at all. And it's another vice that you need to cancel out of your life because it's cutting and trimming down your potential. Yes, it's easy to smoke a cigarette and feel better, or drink some beer and forget about life for a little bit. But when you're done with that drunk or you're done with the cigarette, you're still in the same place. You haven't gone anywhere. You haven't grown any part. So it's so essential that we cut this out of our life because it's not benefiting us in any way. Some people will be like, oh, it's okay to drink once in a while. It's okay to let loose once in a while. But I'm just saying it has no beneficial effects on you, and it's going to be hurting your gains and your growth, especially if you're overdoing it. Like, I'll only be able to drink 1 or 2 drinks if I'm in Vegas or something, having fun with my family or having fun with friends. The minute you start going overboard, everything is okay in moderation. But if you start going overboard, you're just screwed. If you start just drinking to get drunk, it's different when you're with your friends and you need to loosen up a little bit after a very intense week. But you need to be able to have limits and set limits for yourself. And it's hard to do that. Some people, it's really hard to do that. You can't set limits with cigarettes because you're going to be addicted to the chemicals in the cigarettes and the nicotine in them, and you're not going to ever want to stop. I know, because I used to smoke cigarettes, and it was so hard to quit, and I tried so many times until I finally, with the support from my mom, who's amazing, I was like, okay, I don't need to do this anymore. It had a grip on me, and that's what these things do, these drugs and tobacco. They get you addicted. If you're already feeling like crap, and then you're smoking a cigarette, it makes you feel better, you'll never be able to get off it because it's playing so much of a role in mediating your happiness. You cannot let that happen, ladies and gentlemen. Number 3, too much screen time and not taking enough me time. Taking time for yourself to relax, think, meditate. This is extremely important to your growth. We're constantly bombarded with things that don't matter to us on outside sources that change the way we think. We never have time to ourselves to think and just focus on ourselves, which is the most important thing. These electronics we're using, we're constantly on a screen. You're on your laptop, you're on your phone, then you're watching TV after work. You're using the register at your job. You know what I mean? You're constantly on the screen, and nowadays we're rarely taking time from that. We have to be taking time for ourselves, going outside, getting some fresh air, going for a hike. These are going to be essential to your overall happiness and growth. And when you're getting your happiness from outside validation, like your social media, like someone liking your Instagram pictures, this is when you're going to be the most unhappy because you're trying to find your worth and your value in outside sources. And this is a huge recipe for disaster. Too much screen time, not enough me time. Okay? Take some time for yourself. Now, a lot of us don't feel the need to do that. We're like, okay, well, the Facebook makes me feel better. We check our phone first thing in the morning when that's not what we should be doing. We got to be able to set the phone down, go outside and get some fresh air, go for a walk. Everything's become so convenient to us. Like, oh, we don't even have to leave the house to get groceries. We can just get them dropped off. And this is why we need to have self-control. Okay, I've had enough electronics and screen time for the day. I have to go take some time for myself, get some fresh air, take a couple deep breaths. And when we neglect that, we're neglecting our mental health and we're neglecting our own happiness. Number 4, never disconnecting from your electronics / digital media. Now, this is different than 3. I know some of you guys are like, oh, that's the same thing. No, this is different than number 3. This means taking time for yourself away from Netflix, away from TV, things you would do in your recreational time that aren't healthy. Watching TV all the time. Like you come home from a long day and you just turn on the TV and sit there for 5 hours. You know, this is not going to be healthy. It's not going to help you in any way. And what we need to make sure we start doing is not letting our brain control our decisions. And what I mean by that is your brain wants you to be comfortable and it doesn't want you to grow. Your brain wants you to stay exactly where you are because it's comfortable. So, you know how when you are supposed to get up early and you don't because your brain's like, no, I can sleep in. And then you press snooze on the alarm clock. Then you keep doing it. You gotta be able to take control of your brain and say jump. Like when my soul says jump, you jump. That's what Tony Robbins would say. When my soul says jump, you jump. And I'm not going to be listening to my brain, which wants me to stay exactly where I am, where it's comfortable, and not go outside my comfort zone where growth happens. That's where growth happens, outside your comfort zone. We need to understand this. That is not sitting at home after working all day watching TV. We have to take time to disconnect from these things so we have time for ourselves. These are things that we need to make sure we do. You can't just come home every day after work, or if you don't work, just sit at home and watch TV or play video games all day, because they don't have a beneficial effect on you. You're just wasting your time, which is the most important thing we have, is our time. Why would you want to spend it watching TV when you could be growing, getting better? This is why I don't even like watching TV. I love to read, though, because when you're reading, someone's telling you a story from their life, and you're taking it in as your own. You're learning from their experience. It's going to be in you now. And this is why I love reading so much, because it's not like TV where you're just sitting there like, passive, you know? You're actually reading a book, going into that book where that person was. Actually reading. So your brain's getting a workout, whereas when you're watching TV, your brain's not doing anything but just sitting there passively. Number 5. A lot of you guys do this. Putting women before excellence. Your purpose should always be the number one thing, not women. When you put women first, you will get dragged through the dirt every time, because a lot of these women are putting themselves first. And this is what you need to do. You need to put yourself first and focus on your growth and not be distracted by them. They are a distraction, and they will distract you from the most important things in life. This is why in my other videos, I constantly talk about putting yourself first. And that girl will see, oh my gosh, he's putting himself first. Oh my gosh, that's a guy worth chasing. And I promise, I swear to God, it's going to happen. If you put yourself first, people are going to notice. This is the same thing for women. If you put yourself first, the guy's going to notice. Always be chasing your purpose and chasing excellence, trying to chase the bag. Don't be listening to these Hollywood rom-coms where it's like, the girl is my whole life, like The Notebook. Don't be listening to the way the movies portray it, because that's not the way it actually is. You need to be putting yourself first and focus on chasing the bag. And the women nowadays, you need to be doing the same thing, because you can't rely on a man nowadays. Men have become severely weak. Now they're realizing that they can only rely on themselves, and they can't rely on a man. So you need to be chasing excellence all the time. That has to be your number one priority. Chasing excellence, getting the bag. Once you switch this out and you're like, woman, making her happy, getting the bag down here, you are going to be severely distracted and unhappy. We need to be switching this up so we're only chasing the bag and chasing our purpose, not worried about women, because that special woman or that special man will find you if you focus on yourself and just chase your goals. All right, beautiful people. This was 5 habits killing your gains. Once you cut these bad habits out of your life and start putting yourself first, you're going to see substantial gains and make unlimited progress. All right? This is a fact. I know, because I used to do all these things, and now I cut them out of my life completely, and I'm excelling, going straight to the top. Right? So there has to be a correlation. All right? I'm only sharing this with you because I want to help you. I want you to be happier and more productive. Get that special someone in your life. And you can't do this if you're not focused on the right things and you're focused on the wrong things. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Got another video coming next week. Choose happiness, guys.